Okay, hello world, and welcome back to episode number 18 of the Brothers Blue doing our podcast. With that being said, today we are going to talk about housing. And again, actually, kind of like last topic, I feel like due to our personal experience with this, we have a very nuanced opinion. And we tend to like to do our research. So that kind of also helps us form at least what I like to think are valid opinions about complex subjects. And housing is just one word, and it might seem simple, but it's not. So, with that being said, that is Brother Kyle.
And that is Brother Cody. And the one thing that we didn't really take notes on, and I think maybe that could be fuel for a second episode on the same or a similar topic, is we have a long history as
Yes.
renters.
Yep.
But we don't really have any notes on that, and I don't really want to get into it without having. But that's the thing, is I've rented. Like,
Yeah.
we've been in
So,
so many rental situations.
and I spent all 10 years living in Denver as a renter.
Yeah,
And so that's a long time. And I was a very good renter and I had good renter history. And I generally had good credit. So I usually would get the places that I wanted to live in. Um, and so actually, I think a good topic for a second conversation about this would be our history as renters and also our childhood housing experience is very unique, and let's save it for next time.
yeah, exactly. That's great because
Right.
we moved a lot, but yeah. So to get into it, into what we actually want to talk about, I'm going to start with this quote. The Zone, Phoenix's largest homeless encampment, was cleaned out in November 2023 after a court order, but the city's homelessness crisis persists, with new encampments emerging and challenges in providing adequate shelter and services. So that's literally like every city in America, which is
Yep.
the point you're going to make. But I do
Right.
remember, again, I didn't vote on it because it was a court order, but I remember it being in the news and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like one of those things that I think is like an ineffective measure, also, because it's like, okay, we're going to disperse all of these homeless people. We're going to break up this homeless camp, but we're not going to do anything to solve the problem.
Well, and they just go elsewhere in the city, which is
Yeah, right,
now I see homeless encampments in my neighborhood, and it's
right. Which is what we were talking about. And so, like, Kyle could show you specific places right in Phoenix, great American city. I love Phoenix, actually. But there's a homeless problem there. And I could show it to you in a specific location in Pittsburgh, Seattle, and Denver. Those places specifically, again, I feel like I could just drive to Philly and go see Kelly, and she could probably show me some homeless people, you know. But
but
and
Vegas,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, Vegas, yeah, that's
Yeah, right. I could take you to a homeless encampment in Vegas. So yeah.
yep, right. And so that's it. That's almost an arbitrary point, right? Because it's like, oh, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
Nowhere.
fortunate that it is a sort of ubiquitous problem.
And it's
And
not unique. Yeah, it's like
well,
not.
and what really sucks is like this is an urban issue, but there are only like a million problems with suburbs, so it's like okay, yeah, which isn't a point we're gonna get into later, yeah, hopefully, but like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that like I'd rather be dealing with these urban issues because
Yes.
they're going to happen. But
Yeah.
suburbs, I feel like is more like something we made happen. I don't know.
So I have an interesting situation because I think suburbs are like terrible. But and that's my thing is like I
Well,
literally
you live in a suburb, right?
I think Carnegie is considered a suburb. I do think that, but like, dude, I have a wall of my house that is this far away from the wall of my neighbor's house.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's. I'm sorry. Also, just kind of East Coast architecture, but
Right.
like you're right, like that is like I mean the idea hopefully with urban planning is to build
Yeah.
housing as close together as possible, so I'm
So
all for that, but like yeah.
I think we'll get into it a little bit more later with the personal housing thing, but something that I did
Yeah.
say and that I will say, dude, four grown males live in my like single family home.
Well, but
Would you call my
again
home more?
this
Would you call mine more than a single family home?
no, but
Right.
it's still like twice as big as mine. And this literally goes into the regional architecture thing is that like,
You're
yeah,
right. You're
there
right.
are your house is three stories plus a basement, right? That's
Correct.
I have one story.
Yep. Right.
Just one. So, again, like it's just America is huge,
Right.
and
The
we're going to have a lot of different types of housing, which is also where like it goes into like education and healthcare and a million other things that should probably be done on state level. But yeah,
I again, like I think I'll bring it up later, but I really am happy about the way that, dude. I honestly think that the roommates that I have would be homeless if it wasn't for me. And that is a very grand opinion to have of oneself, but that doesn't make it not true. Like, I don't think I told you this, but my most recent roommate that I took in because I had to get a new one because of a wildly bad situation. Um, he is moving in from my homeless shelter. So, yeah,
yeah. You did not tell me that. So I'm glad you're telling me right now because that is
pretty cool, right?
well, it's literally like proof of what you're saying is that well, and we
I'm
have
not
hold
virtual.
on,
I'm not
no,
virtue signaling anything. I'm living the yeah.
that's a good one because
Thank
we
you.
have talked about
You love that.
well, no, like the unfortunate fact that you've had some renters that like have been delinquent or whatever. And like this is funny. It's like we get into the rent seeking thing, and like you're a landlord, and I'm a landlord. Like I have a renter, but like it doesn't feel like that. Like yeah, it's so
So
weird.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because it was
The
something that I
roommates.
hold on is something that I was going to talk about you with you off of camera, and it is that video. The guy said he was going to explain why it's not greedy landlord's fault. that we're and like that's my thing is like, okay, call me a landlord, but I'm not greedy. And like, dude, even mom, I would call mom way more of a landlord than us.
Yeah,
Um,
no. If you live in the same dwelling that you are charging people rent for, sorry, I'm
Me
like,
and you,
if
yep,
you're living in the same dwelling as the people you're charging rent, like I
it's
feel much
roommate.
more like a yeah. And again, like I've had roommates where it's like they were the leaseholder, and like sorry, my like it was just so it was
Me, you've lived with me while I was
yeah, and I
living.
paid you rent, and I
Yeah,
didn't feel
exactly.
like you were my landlord. Yeah,
No, exactly. And that's my thing is like, dude, I have this big ass house and I could honestly figure out a way to live with just me and Cody and afford it, but I get to live a much better lifestyle because I rent out to people. And yeah, my mortgage is essentially paid by other people. I also get child support, so
we'll get into the whole mortgage thing later. My next note is from M. Nolan Gray, and his whole article. I'm not going to read the quote, but his whole article is about the idea that there's not just one housing crisis happening. There are multiple housing crises happening, and it is a shortage crisis, an inaccessibility crisis, and a choice crisis. And
yep.
yeah, we talked about how like the shortage and inaccessibility totally makes sense, but the choice
Hold
thing,
on.
like, all right,
Yep.
yeah,
No. And so that's where I think this is fun. And I'm glad that you wrote it down as specifically as you did because I think 100% the housing inaccessibility crisis is the one that we should be focused on.
yeah,
And I think the first solution says great solution there later, but I think the first solution is just give people houses.
yeah.
Like there are empty places everywhere. Fill them with people.
And that's all I'm
I
saying.
promise you it's better than sleeping on the street.
Oh, and you're right, but it wouldn't be enough. And that's why we need to build more. Like
Okay.
that's all there is. It's a mathematical thing. Like we just have to build more, even if we fill all the vacant housing.
So, one of the mathematical arguments that was put forward is that there were all these young people that would rather not live with their
Yeah.
parents or grandparents. And
That's
so,
the choice.
again,
Right. Sorry.
it's almost a choice thing, but also let's go back to the numbers. Does that amount of the population add up to enough to make us have a shortage? Because that's what I'm saying is like, I honestly don't know that we have a shortage because like there are empty condos everywhere.
No, and that's all I'm saying is like I don't know. I'm just going off of the research that I've done. And that is the research that I've done is that they say once all of the vacant housing is filled, there would still be a need for housing to be built.
Okay, I guess if they, I just
Well,
have not.
also it's going to create jobs and like, yeah.
Oh, well, that is a different argument. Sorry.
No, it is. You're right.
Yeah, and so that's actually the argument is that like if you just give people housing, they'll achieve anything
No.
essentially.
Okay, but no, like, yeah. All right. No, like people like me. Yeah, it's like, no, you just give them healthcare and they have better chance. As they
I
see.
actually was watching the video and I was like, "Damn, this proves Kyle's point so hard in the uh undiscovered geniuses. Yeah. Because you know what they don't have? Housing.
Yeah. Well, and like that's what I'm saying is like there's a lot less avenues for like genius to be recognized, greatness in sports and like all that stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be highlighted and whatnot, but like
It's anomalous. It's anomalistic. Yeah.
the smartest of the smart probably aren't going to be recognized the way the best athletes will be.
Exactly, and that's where athleticism is anomalous.
I'm glad we came to an agreement on that one. Actually,
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, that's funny. So yeah, the next quote that I have. Can I go ahead?
Yeah,
Do you mind?
good.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's from the video, and again, I just put that in my notes, and I only shared 2 videos with you. This is from the video that is. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher the title, but I think it is close to something like the homelessness crisis is the everything crisis, and that's like the biggest video that guided the majority of my research for this conversation. So in this video, he says in his glorious accent, populists all across the world have shown no respect for good government or managing the economy properly. And so I kind of just love that because populism again is like not just like yeah, people say Trump is a populist, but like it's kind of a global trend that's going on, especially in like Europe. This whole like populism thing, and again, uh, they don't acknowledge good government or managing the economy properly.
Is there a major difference between fascism and populism?
I'd have to think of it because yeah, sir, yeah, because I've been doing a lot of research on the isms, as you know. Uh, so that is one I will look into.
Because again, like I feel like something we do in an appropriate fashion is lump the isms in with each other. And so, like, again, like global fascism just is a thing, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, fascism, populism, and nationalism are all very similar. And I hate to say that because I think the other sentiment would be that socialism and communism are like the same thing. And it's like, no, they're different.
One like socialism and fascism are kind of like, or socialism and communism. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or I feel like it's like a step, like you go from
Oh, yeah,
socialism
you said that. Yeah.
to communism, but when it comes to the fascism, populism, and nationalism,
Right.
that is like okay. So fascism, as far as I know, is like
Market thing. Yeah.
no, a popular ultra nationalism. So I would say that nationalism and populism probably fall under the umbrella of fascism. But again,
Got
we're
it.
getting like into the isms, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
my god, what are you
Right.
talking about right now? So yeah.
Got it. No, you
Yeah.
explained it. I get it.
What I said like makes sense,
Right.
kind of.
Yeah, I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's not fine. It's good.
Yeah, thank you. So
So non-market housing helps stabilize and properly
no,
regulate rent prices. Sorry.
before you get to that, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this is a point I was actually talking to Rosenberg about, and like I love talking to you about this, and this is the time and place to do it. I really, really, this is, and because you have been really pushing the mixed economy thing, uh, like the idea that like every economy in the world is literally a mix between capitalism and socialism, and
Correct.
uh,
It's
diving
like we have a mixed global economy. Sorry.
but diving deep into that and like a real world example that I love is industries where public and private sectors flourish together. Like, hold on, I go to a food bank and I think fine dining restaurants should also exist. Public private sector, like
Options.
options is like that.
Ideal. Yeah.
It's the freest market you can get, baby. So yeah, that's is what I really love, and like also like healthcare. Healthcare is a good one because like basic stuff, but also if you want to get your tits done, if you want to have a boob job, go ahead. Like that's fine. Go like you should be able to do that.
You do
That's what I'm saying.
you.
Public and private sector should be like the goal in like every industry.
Yeah. And with that being said, we should get rid of all forms of insurance.
Don't get me started. Insurance is extortion, but yeah.
Hey, I'm going to give you all this money. And then
It's,
when I ask for help, you're going to say, oh, no, 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 no. You don't need help.
yeah. Um I really think we should
Sorry.
go into definitions on a lot of things. Socialism, capitalism, populism, all these things. But definitely on that one.
All right. Let's get back to what we were talking about. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So at the end of that quote, you have your personal analysis, which is great. And basically, it's something, well, no. The point that I made after that is like rank control just doesn't work. And so, like, yeah, it's just, I don't, it's not.
Well,
It's not an effective measure.
the problem with rent control is that like there's only like a million things you can do to actually control rent, and then there's like direct rent control policies that set it at a price. And it's like that's not how rent works. Yeah, so rent doesn't work on a fixed price, and that's what rent control said try to do. They try to fix the price of rents, and again, like rents should fluctuate according to like 5 different markets. Yeah,
Ages?
just sucks because like people accuse the left of not knowing economics, and like
And so,
you're like
okay.
the most economically fluent person I know in Rosenberg, and like
So
yeah.
rent should be tethered to wages, and wages should be tethered to productivity.
Productivity. Yeah, exactly. It's again,
It's so simple.
it's so simple. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And what's funny is like this is capitalism, but whatever.
Dude, yeah, because like it's
Like
just so insane. Yeah, well, America doesn't have a public housing option. Is that not like the most indicative fact that we are living in a capitalist system? And so this my thing is like I actually agree that we live with a mixed economy because like 95% of industries have a public and private option, which like you said, in the right world, when you have the public and private option of going to a food bank or dining at, Del Rio's or whatever, doesn't matter. So, or yeah, Do they? Yes, Spago. Is Spago still a place? Very
What
nice.
was the Ocean Blue? Like, isn't that place? Yeah.
Ocean. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, Ocean Blue. Yeah. So, anyways, um, there is actually no public option for housing, which is like
Yeah. Well, it's called his video. It's called non-market housing. That's a public option for housing. It's non-market housing. It
does
is
non-market
yeah,
housing
it's just like
exist in America?
no.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a
So
little bit in Canada, and that's the thing that guy's Canadian, so
yeah, cool. So oh, my computer froze. So
yeah. No, that's fine. Let's get into my last notes. The story of how we became homeowners, which is funny because like our everybody died on our dad's side. We inherited some money and divested technically into your house and my house from one house.
right. And so the thing that we didn't talk about off camera, because I knew you will agree with me, and that's why I wanted to save it, is it's just white privilege. And so, like,
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. We happen to see
generational. Sorry.
generational white wealth.
Well, this is a point that we didn't actually, or in my notes that we didn't get to, is that is the thing is like it's having generational effects. The fact that like redlining happened, but like we are literally the prime example of like how that happened. Is that like the only reason we own property is because our grandma owned
Ancestors.
property. Yeah,
Our
people, our
ancestors.
dad and our grandma, like that's it's generational. Like that's all it is, and like we did pretty good, I think.
I
Yeah.
agree. We're both college educated and we work very hard.
Oh no, okay. And so this is my next note. Like, I have a lot of equity in my house. I have so much equity in my house, I could probably liquidate, pay off all my debts, and still have like 10 grand left over. And that's
That's
like
awesome. Yeah.
student loans, my car. Like, yeah, I could just pay off everything and still have some money because I have so much equity in my house.
I would probably just come out clean. That's it.
Yeah, so I also have a really nice fixed rate. 3.25 is my
Yeah, same.
fixed rate,
Yeah.
and the average is 6 to 7% right now. So yeah, I'm doing pretty good on that one too. My monthly payment is where I'm getting shafted. Like, yeah, it's horrible. Oh, did you freeze?
Yeah, sorry. My computer keeps freezing. I don't know why.
You're good.
I also have a really low rate on my home. It's 3.375,
Yeah,
and my car is like 3.5 as well. Yeah, and I drive a pretty nice car, so
I drive a nice car, and my payment is a little bit less than yours, but my rate is horrible. I don't even want to say it. Yeah, it's horrible.
and no offense, your car is nice. Your Infinity was nicer, and my car is nicer than both of those cars. So
Yes, absolutely. But at least I've never had a $500 car payment. So
yes, my car payment is insane,
yeah, yeah,
but that's I have a really great
dude.
rate on it. Yeah,
Yeah, and also like I'm sorry, but yes, your car is awesome. So
it's
yeah,
awesome.
yes, awesome. My last note is I don't really understand escrow. I don't really want to get into that because literally my mortgage payment is going up every year because of an escrow shortage. And I kind of understand that, but barely.
So I'm actually coming to the month. June is coming up. So I was told that starting in January, my mortgage payment was going to go up because of a projected need for an increase in escrow. Yeah.
Oh,
don't even give. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, no,
So
don't get me started because it's like, why does it need to be so complicated? It's like our tax code. It's like it's just unnecessarily complicated. Yeah.
I haven't even done my taxes yet, and I always do them early. And I literally have my W-2s right here. They're
Yeah,
all right.
I have all mine too. Like mine's right over there. It's right over there. Yeah.
And I haven't done them yet.
Me neither. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter because the IRS probably won't exist next month. So it's fine.
So what's fun is I actually think I'm gonna get a return because I get to claim Cody this year. So that's cool for me. But you're right. Department of Education just got disbanded, so why not?
Yeah. Again, I'm just curious how it's going to affect me. That's all.
Yeah, and mom, I was like, dude, my mom has been a teacher for fucking 30 years. Yeah.
It mostly affects like the like okay, so like when it comes to federal funding, it's like my school lunches; those are federally funded. My my SPED program, we went into that. My SPED program is federally funded. So these are like weird nuances that the Department of Education has like it's
control over. Yeah.
And yeah, so like it's just it's up at the end. Like I'm just curious how it's going to affect all of us.
Right, it's weird and it sucks. Yeah,
yeah, it's weird and it sucks.
Yeah. All right then. So with that being said,
knowledge is power.